What's up, YouTube? LTH coming at you with a video. 713 the Space City, we in the building. Alright, so I know, I know this next game for the Texans is coming up versus the Cards, in which I'll do a preview video on that to be exact. But I want to talk a little bit more about this, give my takeaways of what I learned, between the Texans and Chiefs. So gonna be some positives and negative takeaways, And one takeaway I want to throw in is that, the offense sucked in the third quarter, which was brutal to watch, along with, Nick Caley being out-coached, even with the win, courtesy of that, Chiefs defense. Chiefs defense, led by Chris Jones, you know, giving Stroud problems, who had 9 straight incompletions to begin the second half. And of course, the run blocking sucked and pass protection, sucked, which led to the O-line taking a beating, with up and down, which is another negative takeaway I would like to throw in there. A positive takeaway I want to throw in is that, per usual, the Texans defense, led the way once again, thanks to, forcing Mahomes into 3 interceptions, along with holding Kelsey to about 8 yards receiving, which is huge. And of course, the red zone scoring has to be a lot better, because there were opportunities that the Texans could have put the Chiefs away. Which what I've learned, that the Texans don't do a good job of putting teams away, with a killer instinct type mindset. So they got to be better about that. And Woody Marks, gotta credit Woody Marks though, for earning a clutch first down to put the game away. Thanks to a field goal. And of course, the offense has to be a lot better, which is a part of a takeaway I have to throw in there. Offense got to be better. Stroud, he didn't give the ball away, but he has to be a lot more confident, especially when under intense pressure, because can't make things happen under pressure, gonna have a hard time having success. So Stroud, got to be a lot more aggressively confident. And of course, the running game must be better, along with, Nick Caley, doing a better job of putting the offense in a better position. A much better position than that of sustaining drives, because that third quarter, man, it was brutal. Could have been worse since they only gave up 10 points in that third quarter. But it could have been worse, knowing that the Texans were on the verge of choking this game away. But the defense, once again carried the load, scoring our own 10 points in the fourth quarter. Understandably, takeaway is that defense gives the Texans a key edge in any game. So, yeah, I'm confident in this defense, but this offense can turn up a little bit. I think they'll be all right. Pass and run protection has got to be better going forward. Nick Caley got to come up with better play calls. And like I mentioned, from what I learned, you know, Houston has to do a much better job of putting teams away when that opportunity comes knocking. And you know, hopefully, hopefully, you know, gotta credit Kamari Lawson on that pass breakup that nearly resulted in a touchdown, a long TD pass. You know, really, because there was some plays that Houston was bailed out in for sure. But yeah, my takeaways, third quarter offense was horrendous. Defense carried the load. Nick Caley was out coached. And, of course, Stroud has to be a lot more aggressively confident going down the road when under pressure. So, yeah, I just thought I'd put my 2 cents in on what my takeaways were this past Sunday versus the Chiefs. Though I'll be doing a preview video coming up, so be on the lookout for that. But till then, Florida Houston checking on up out of here. 713 Space City. I'm gone.